Hi everyone. Games Workshop keep releasing stuff that I care about, so I guess I'm just gonna keep making these videos. This time they've released some information about the Leagues of Votann, which is interesting because it ties in a bit with some of the old squat fluff and it makes some departures. It also stops some of the rumors that have been spreading, which I think's interesting. Anyway, let's take a look at them. So yes, Leagues of Votann, new information out already. To be honest, I was kind of expecting this to come a bit slower. I mean, look, there's not much in this article, but let's take a look and let's go through it. So, the Leagues of Votann are coming, but what actually is a Votann? Which is interesting, right? Because we just assumed that was the name. So, the Leagues of Votann are on their way, and everyone's excited to find out how these doughty spacefarers fit into the vast setting of Warhammer 40,000. The Leagues have a long storied history of independent strongholds bound together by the Votann, but just what is a Votann anyway? So we should say that Leagues and strongholds are all things that existed in Rogue Trader when the squats were a thing. Each squat, brotherhoods lived in strongholds. Strongholds were in trading leagues. Went over this a bit in the last video. But yeah, this Votann thing is new. I thought that was just the name for them because, as we mentioned, Votann is based on Wotan. Wotan is the Germanic form of Odin, and the concept of fantasy dwarfs owes a lot to sort of Northern European myths, Scandinavian myths, and I think a lot of the place they get this is from Wagner's Ring Cycle, which was uses the German naming. Anyway, all interesting. A secretive people in a galaxy full of mortal threats, the kin, which is the squats, do not discuss the nature of the Votann with outsiders by sacred custom and sensible caution. The word is used freely enough, but no one beyond the Leagues has any clue what it refers to. There's a good reason for this reticence. If the secrets of the Votann were ever revealed to the galaxy at large, the uneasy peace between the Leagues and the Imperium of Man would quickly crumble. So that's like a ramping up of the old fluff, right? The old background always had the squats and the Imperium having this uneasy truce, partly because the squats you had different religious practices and different traditions. So yeah, that's always been there. This sort of reinforces that and then just ramps it up a bit, and we get this image of a big head thing in a cave, in a techno cave, with some easily sellable Promethean pipes there going to it. Lovely. But why? The Votann are ancestor cores, supercogitators, gestalt repositories of inherited wisdom and knowledge. Each league has its own Votann, central to its way of life, and no kin would hesitate to lay down their lives to protect it. These venerable cogitators are as sacred to the kin as gods are to the more spiritual races. That's the sort of thing the Adeptus Mechanicus have strong opinions on. Within these self-organizing data stacks of quantum info cores is held all the information a people might need to survive among the stars. There's an unimaginable wealth of lore buried in each Votann, which cannot be allowed to fall into the more superstitious hands of outsiders. And then these Votann are running out of memory and going wrong. They're slowly breaking down like everything in 40k. So yeah, okay, great. So again, interesting. So squats, so they've got this big technological core. Squats' religion that used to be put them at slight odds to the Imperium. Their religion used to be ancestor worship, and they were always more like technologically proficient, I guess you'd say, than the Imperium. Although it used to be that they were a bit more close. This was the squat mechanicus you used to be able to get. You used to be able to put general tech priests in a squat army, and when you did that, you could get a special squat tech priest. So they were pretty clearly, the idea that squats or dwarves, I guess, are just very technologically proficient is absolutely still a thing. What's interesting to me is the rumor that was going around that this, I'm going to say, disproves. There was this idea that the squats would be controlled by abominable intelligences and men of iron. If you don't know, in 40k, the men of iron, not these guys, that guy, the men of iron, which they released one robot guy for, were like artificial intelligences that did like a Terminator style war in the dim past. It's basically stolen from Dune, the Butlerian jihad from Dune. Which meant that all artificial intelligence, which in the Imperium call abominable intelligence, was outlawed. So you're not allowed those. And there was this idea, people thought, oh, maybe they're going to be led by Men of Iron AIs. But this actually sounds more like STCs. This is like a really, really good STC. Doesn't say yet that they are intelligent. They're just very, very good repositories of information. STCs, again, going into even more background if you're not sure, STCs, the Standard Template Contract System, is like the holy grail of knowledge from the before times in 40k, when humanity was before the Imperium, before the Emperor, or not really before the Emperor, before the Imperium, when humanity bestrode the stars. They developed this system to put all their knowledge in a box called an STC, or a program, or a machine. It's unclear, kind of all of them. And then everyone, all the colonists around the world, can use the STC to build whatever they need. And that's what the Adeptus Mechanicus are so searching for. That's their like holy grail, is finding STCs. There's already been one in recent 40k. This is the Van Saar STC. Apparently in Necromunda, Van Saar are so advanced because they the Van Saar house is so advanced because they secretly have a barely functioning, sort of going wrong radioactive STC that gives them slightly better weapons, but means that they're a bit less tough because they're all radiation poisoned. So we've seen STCs. This, to me, this League of Votann description sounds like a really good STC. That's what they've got. They've got this old STC knowledge that the Imperium's lost. And yeah, again, this makes sense. What's interesting is the similarity in design. So we go down a bit here, we see some squats in their armour. Bulky, curved, form-fitting Imperial armour. It's got things in common with Martian STC technology, but it looks a bit smoother and a bit curvier. And yeah, that makes sense. We've mentioned before how, a lot of their design inspirations from the last reveal, similar to Van Saar, that sort of curvy, form-fitting, more modern sci-fi look, and that is also similar to these Men of Iron. So I like the fact that there's like a continuous design aesthetic to do with, pre-Imperial technology. That seems to be a thing. And obviously these guys have access to better and older STCs, which they worship. But then we get to the next bit. Some have developed idiosyncrasies, what might even be termed personalities. When once the kin would have received an answer, in the 41st millennium, some Votann can take decades or centuries to deliver the same solution. Day by day, year by year, the ancestor cores become more erratic and mercurial. And apparently all the rest of the lore is held in the Warhammer community's own ancestor core. So that's, I guess, good to know. So yeah, they're potentially now developing a personality, potentially a bit like an artificial intelligence, but crucially not the Men of Iron of the past. Although, there's a lot of similarities in all of this because they're all from the same era of human technological design, I guess. I like this image. This sort of grid of images reminds me of an old image from Dark Heresy. I love this bank of thing up here. I don't know whether these are windows in the spaceship or whether that's a big TV screen. It really reminds me of like Jonathan Pryce in a 90s James Bond film. So, apparently the League of Votann are extremely good at controlling their own social media image on all their tellies. I think that's what we should leave everybody with. I like it. I think the idea is nice. It's not quite as simple as, they're Men of Iron, because that would be a bit of a heretical thing and probably hard to justify. And it keeps the Men of Iron, crucially, it keeps the Men of Iron as a big badge you could introduce later. But it gives you a valid reason. Like, they've got these really, really good STCs. The STCs might start to have personalities and are worshipped, which are problems for the Imperium. But I guess the bigger thing that the squats know is that if the Imperium knew they had loads of really good complete STCs, then they probably wouldn't stay independent for that long, or there'd be some big war. So secret STCs worshipped like they're gods that might be starting to turn into gods. Yeah, I think it's a pretty nice difference from the Adeptus Mechanicum, isn't it? It's a nice change. I like it. Yeah, great, good. Well done, Games Workshop. You keep releasing things that make me make videos about them. Yeah, I like the design here. I like the big chunky armor. It has a little bit in common with, you know, exo squats and things. Remember the old exo squats are these like egg shaped guys. So I'm glad that we've got some vaguely egg shaped armor going on. That guy in the back there, very egg shaped down there. So you know, I'm glad that's still a thing. Anyway, yeah, I'm totally gonna get an army of them, aren't I? There's not really can't really avoid that. Maybe I'll wait till next year. Maybe when Heresy's built. Yeah. Hey ho. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope that was informative. Let's see if they turn the content hose off for more than a week so I can catch up on normal videos. More normal videos this weekend. Okay, bye.